Today, we begin with a very, very important topic in grammar, and that is tenses. You need to understand, you need to know, tenses is a very, very important chapter. And why is it so? Let me tell you, it is the base of your English. Now, be it your writing skills, be it your communication, you need tenses, because that is the main thing which actually identifies what you are trying to say. So let's learn it in a little depth. And students, it's a very sincere request to all of you, stay glued to the video throughout so that you get each and every clue, each and every key, each and every technique, how to frame your sentences using the tenses, as well as how you can use them. Yes, how you can use them in your creative writing, in your communication skills. So it's all about it. But yes, it's a request again, please stay glued till the end. You will definitely benefit, and this is not just for now. One more important thing, this is not just for now. This is going to help you lifetime, and I mean it. You shall get to know by the end of it how and why am I saying that. Yes, so let's keep moving. Now, we are all aware, we have done it. Actually, we have been doing tenses, I think, since grade 2. Gradually, step by step, the tenses went on increasing, the depth went on increasing, the intensity was on the rise, and now finally you are at it. There's nothing beyond this. So yes, we are all aware. So let's quickly brush up what we have done, so far. So we are all aware it's present, past and future. Present is now, it's current. Past was yesterday, future tomorrow. Now, these subtenses to the present we have present indefinite. Now, present indefinite also means simple present tense. So don't get confused, because quite often in your exams, you might be asked to change, when you have a do as directed, you might be asked to change your sentence to present indefinite. Don't get confused. It is simple present tense. Then you have present continuous, present perfect continuous. Now let me tell you one thing, if you remember it in the order, you'll never ever make a mistake. So do that. It's not at all difficult. Past indefinite, past continuous, past perfect continuous. Always keep the same order. So all your three tenses will be absolutely clear. Again, future indefinite, future continuous, future perfect continuous. Now what we're going to do is, we are going to get to the depth of each, right? It'll be very quick. Don't worry, we won't take much time. But once you get the grip, once you understand it, you shall master it. You shall master it for good. Yeah? So keep patience and just keep watching. So here we go. Simple present tense or present indefinite tense, don't forget. Alright, so what do you mean by simple present tense? Now, it is used to denote scientific facts, universal truths, and work done on daily basis. How you spend your day, your daily routine, right? I wake up, I go for bath, I eat my breakfast, I go to school, I do my homework, I go for classes. So what you do on daily basis, let me tell you, don't get confused. Present means now, that right now I am teaching and you are listening. No, that's not present. That's not simple present. That is present continuous. I will get to it. Right now, understand what you do daily. If you say, my dad goes to office by car, that's something which happens on a daily basis. My mother cooks yummy food. Again, that happens on a daily basis. So that is something which comes under simple present tense. And of course, your universal facts, your scientific facts, the sun rises in the east. It is something which is always the case, right? It is a universal fact. So it remains the same. Now, let's move on to, there's one more very important thing which I have noticed in students. Now, when they can frame a simple sentence, an assertive sentence, the problem is they don't know where to place the not in the negative sentence, and they don't know how to frame an interrogative sentence. Obviously, you are going to even sometimes negate your sentence. Negate means make it negative. By making negative, I mean adding not, right? You should know where to place that. The placement of not is important. Likewise, you should also know how to frame your questions. Very often I have seen the children don't do it, students don't do it correctly. So I'm going to get into that depth very quickly. See, the moment you read your sentences, if you are a fluent speaker, right, you will not need to really memorize all this. And by the way, do we need to memorize? Of course not. This is something when you speak, you understand. You find it wrong. You find it something fishy when you have framed it wrongly. So, here we go. Assertive rule. Now, please remember this. It is subject plus verb 1 plus S or ES and object. Now, what do we mean by this? So, Ritika edits magazine articles. Now, here if you see, it is Ritika, it is one person, right? So, we are adding S here, right? If we say Ritika watches the football match, watches, ES. So, this is where it was telling you, you either add an S or an ES, right? So, that is your simple present. Coming to the negative rule, there it is. Now look here. Here it is subject plus verb 1 plus S and ES plus your object. Now here subject plus does not plus verb 1 SES object. I'll go with this, with your thing. So when I'm talking of subject, I'm talking of Ritika. When I say does not, it's does not. Verb 1 edit, right? That's S or ES depending on your verb. And object is what? Magazine articles. By the way, do we know to get our objects? No. Can I quickly just tell you about this? So, I'll give you a very simple clue. You should know your object. Ritika edits what? Ritika edits whom? You have to frame two questions. If you get the answer to any one of these, that is your object. So, here magazine articles is the object, right? So, coming back, Ritika does not edit magazine articles. Now, the same thing we want to make it into a question. Interrogative means asking a question. So, does subject Ritika, verb S or ES, edit magazine articles. Now, here it can be does Ritika or do the students. Now, does will become do if your subject, which is Ritika here, is in the plural form. Right? So, if it is do they or do the students or do my friends, anything in the plural will take do. These are the basic rules. I'm sure by now you must be pretty clear with all those concepts. That comes right, from 5th standard onwards we do the is, am, are, the do, does, has, have. It's all about then onwards. I'm sure by now you're pretty clear with all those. Moving further to interrogative negative rule. Now, let's go the same manner. Does will be does. Your subject here is Ritika. Not plus verb, so not plus verb, and your object is magazine articles. So, does Ritika not edit magazine articles? Now, quite a few times we use this type, which is I think a little rare, but yes, sometimes we do. Now, this is how you are going to use your simple present tense or present indefinite tense. So, don't get confused. I am sure we are clear by this. Please don't forget the does and the do in this case. One more thing, again, out of experience, I'm telling you, there are many students who don't even realize that do and does are present tense. They're supposed to be used. They quite often tell me the do is present and does is past. Then what is did? So no, it is do and does. We use does only for he, she or it, and all the time we use do. That's I do, you do, and he, she, it does. So does comes only there in your third person singular. Now that's way far. We have already done this. I am just recapping it as I'm moving to it. Moving to the next subtense, right? It's present, continuous or progressive. Again, don't get confused. It either comes as continuous or progressive. Now, it is used to express an action taking place at the time of speaking, right now. Right now, I am teaching you tenses. You are watching the video, right? So, right now, this action is happening. So, it is present continuous tense or an action which is in progress, progressive. Yeah. Again, we'll have the 4 forms of sentences. Assertive rule, you have. Now, here it is present. Okay, now because, and it is present continuous, now we have to make sure that we use the is, am, are. Now, talking of the 4 types of sentences, assertive rule, that's your positive. Subject, again now here we have Avika or she. Now here you have got mentioned that it can be a name, right? It can be a noun or it can be a pronoun. Don't get confused. Now, subject plus is, am, are. Now because this is present continuous, now because it is present continuous, we are using is, am, are, which is present, right? And continuous, so it is verb plus ing. Now these what I have circled here are the key words for present continuous. For present, these 2 have to be there in your sentence or else you have wrongly framed it. So, Avika or she is editing magazine articles. Is editing. So, do you see? It is and it is editing. The ing definitely has to be there in your verb, right? Moving further to the negative rule, same thing. All that you have to do is you have to place a not. Where do you place it? Ritika or she is not editing magazine articles. Now, do you see this? Is not editing. So you have the present helping verb, you have the not which is negative, and you have the ing verb which is continuous. Further, moving to the interrogative sentence, is, am, are plus subject plus verb plus ing plus object. See, don't get confused looking at this. If you feel so, kindly directly look at the sentence. This is to help you out. If you have not understood this, read that, but then connect it to your sentence. You will not find it difficult at all. So, is Ritika editing magazine articles? So again you see is there and editing is there, right? So is talking about the present and ing continuous. Now talking of the interrogative negative rule, again is subject not verb plus ing plus object. So is Ritika not editing the magazine articles, right? So you see how you have to remember these 2, very important when it comes to present continuous. Let's move further. Now moving to present perfect. Now present perfect is, okay, first let's read it and then get to know better. It is used to show an action that started in the past and has just finished, right? For example, Ritika has edited the magazine article. That means she had started doing it before, but right now it's done. My question to you, if I ask you, have you ever been to Dubai? Right? Have you visited Dubai? Now, right now, either you will tell me a yes or a no. You will tell me, yes, I have visited Dubai, or no, I haven't visited Dubai. My question when I ask you and you say I have visited Dubai, what is my conclusion? That yes, you have been and come. There is no fixed time element here. In present perfect, please remember, there is no time element. You are not saying that you visited it last year. If you visited it, then that talks of the past tense, but you are saying I have visited. That means it's done. You have been to that place. That's the only conclusion. You have to remember, when you are talking of present perfect, we have to make sure that we know our keywords, and they are has, have and verb 3. Keywords, extremely important. If you know your keywords, you know all your tenses. And if you understand this present, these 4 subtenses of the present, you will know even the past and the future accurately. Trust me for this. Yes? So pay full attention. Again, I'm reminding you. So here you have subject, has, have, verb 3 plus object. Now, Ritika has edited the magazine article. Now, do you see? You have has and you have edited. Okay? You have the keywords. It is using the third form. What do we mean by the third form? I'm sure you know it, right? When I say you have the different forms of verbs, eat, ate, eaten, do, did, done, go, went, gone. So all the last ones that I'm talking about, eaten, gone, these are all your verb 3. If not, you can definitely look over. You have a whole list of verbs where you have all the verb 3 forms. Go through them, right? Then you have the negative rule. Subject, has, have, not, verb 3, object. But just a minute, something strikes me. Can you tell me when are we supposed to use has and when are we supposed to use have? Well, let me tell you again, both are in the present form. But how do you use it? When do you use has and when do you use have? Again, the same rule which I mentioned before for do and does. Same thing applies for has and have. Now, I have a book, you have a book, but he or she has a book. 88% of the children which I have come across definitely come up with, ma'am, she have my book. That's what I always come across. Yes, I'm even talking of students of 7th and 8th. I have come across this, so I'm bringing this to your notice, right? So please don't do that mistake, don't do that blunder, because maybe in exam you might just lose half mark or 1 mark, but later down the line when you grow up, I mean you get into your, you take up your career and there you have to come up for an interview or anything of the sort, any kind of presentation, these definitely cause a lot of obstacles. So do take care. Yes, coming back, has, have. So he, she, it, any one person, animal, thing or a place, any one uses has. The rest all use have. Please keep that in mind. So when I talk of a negative sentence, it is subject plus has, have plus not plus verb 3 plus object. So you see here it is has not edited, right? You have the keyword has, have, and you have edited, which is the verb 3. Further, interrogative, has. Now I'll go directly. Let's see, if you get confused, you can read this, you can pause the video and read it, or else let's go with the sentences. Has Ritika edited the magazine article? Now again, you're asking the question. Now either she will tell you yes or no. She will not tell you the time, right? It is just like your teachers generally ask you, have you done your homework? You say, yes, ma'am, we have done our homework. So what does the teacher understand? That the work is done. That's the conclusion. If you are going to tell her, ma'am, I did my homework yesterday, when you're specifying time, yesterday, then you will use past tense. If you are not using the time element, you are going to use present perfect, because present perfect does not use time element. It has just got over. So, moving further to interrogative negative rule, again, has Ritika not edited the magazine article? Right? So, do you understand all of these? Remember, for present perfect, your keywords has, have, verb 3. That's very important. Let's move further. The fourth subtense. Now, present perfect continuous. See, we went through simple present, we went through present continuous, we went through present perfect. Now, the last form of the present tense, present perfect continuous. Now, this tense shows the action which started in the past and is still continuing. Before I start this, I want to give you an example, right? I invited you to my place at 6 p.m., right? You turned up at 7 p.m. Indian stretchable time, IST. All right, most of us do that. Yeah, so 6 o'clock I invited you, you landed up at 7 o'clock. And when you come, what do I tell you? I tell you, I have been waiting for you since 6 o'clock. I have been waiting for you for an hour. Did you get it? I started waiting for you at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock was the starting point, right? So I have been waiting for you since 6 o'clock. And if I tell you, I have been waiting for you for an hour. Okay, so for is the period, how long I waited. So when it comes to present perfect continuous, your words since and for are the keywords. Now let's look at this very quickly. Ritika has been editing the magazine article. Can you please see this? Has, perfect. Been editing, continuous, ing. You have to keep this in mind. Has been editing. Been is very important here, right? So this is how we get to know that it is present, perfect, continuous. Further, Ritika has not been editing the magazine article. Do you see? Has not been editing. You have has for your perfect, you have not for the negative, been editing, continuous, right? Please keep these keywords in mind. And if you know this very well, the moment you see the name of the tense, you will understand how to frame it. Moving further to your interrogative, has Ritika been editing the magazine article? So, has and been editing the magazine article. Negative, interrogative negative, has Ritika not been editing the magazine article? So, again, you have all your identities. Sorry for this. Has Ritika not been editing the magazine article? This is how you will frame your interrogative negative rule, right? So I'm sure by now we are clear with the present tense. All the four forms. If you are thorough with the present, your past and future will go just like that. Simple past tense or past indefinite. You remember when we did the present, also we had the present indefinite. So likewise, this is indefinite is like simple itself. So simple past or past indefinite tense. Now these are talking of actions which have already got over, right? And remember, past generally takes time. So it is used to indicate an action completed in the past. It often occurs with the adverb of time. I just mentioned it to you. Sometimes it is used without an adverb of time. Well, that depends on, how and when you're using those sentences. It is used for past habits. Now, these are the different uses. So, I played football when I was a child. Like you're talking about the past, right? Some habit. And how do you form it? It is subject plus verb to. Verb to means your past tense. All the past tense, right? She edited the magazine article. All right? Simple. She edited. It is just a simple past tense, right? Let's go further. When we see the formations, it will be very clear to all of us. Yes. Now here when I talk about assertive sentence of the past tense, she edited the magazine article. All that you have is the word edited in the past tense. Now, this is something extremely important for everyone, right? She didn't edit the magazine article. Students, I would like to bring this to your notice, right? Didn't. Now, you remember do and does is present, did is past. Now, here if I am using didn't, right? I am using the past tense. Now, there are two verbs here. If you see, didn't and edit, right? Now, here, if did is coming in the past tense, edit does not come in the past tense. Remember, you cannot have two past tense in one sentence. Now, here, she didn't edit. I'll tell you a very common sentence I come across. Ma'am, she didn't wrote the letter. She didn't wrote the letter. How correct does it sound to your ears? Does it? Definitely not, because you always say she didn't write the letter. Now didn't is past, write is present. We are not using wrote here. We are using write. So please remember, for accuracy, for proper grammar, you definitely cannot use two past tense in one sentence. So she didn't edit the magazine article. Did she edit the magazine article? Now do you see? It is did and edit. Right? Did is the past tense, edit comes in the present form. See, can you see? It's V1. V1 is your present form. It is not coming V2 like here. Here it is V2. Why? Because it is past tense. But here we are using a helping verb. We are using did. So then in this case, it becomes V1. Going further, did she not edit the magazine article? So here you have your past and here you have your negative in the V1 form. I hope it's pretty clear. I mean, please do remember this. I very often have come across this, and it's really not music to the ears, definitely. So kindly make sure this is there, because while communicating we generally tend to make this mistake, and definitely it's wrong, right? Moving further to your past continuous. Now, just as the name suggests, let's think a little logically. Let's not stick to the rules and make it very difficult, and don't think that tenses is a burden. Seriously, it's not if you have understood it very well. Yes, it's definitely not. Now, it's a past and it is continuous. Now, it is an action in the past, that means the action is over. Clear? Continuous means what? Going on, right? So, in the past, it was going on. That's it. Simple. What is difficult in this, I fail to understand why they find it a burden. I seriously have never understood till today. So let's move further. Used to denote an action going on at some time in the past, which I just mentioned. They were editing the magazine article, right? You're talking of the past. So now you have to remember this rule. Earlier, for present continuous, we spoke of is, am, are. That was present. What is the past tense of is, am, are? Was, were. So, was, were plus ing. Obviously, the ing is added to the verb. Likewise, moving to the four forms, the assertive sentences, they were editing the magazine article. So, you see, it is were editing. Moving to the negative, they were not editing, or they weren't editing the magazine article. Were not, contraction, weren't, right? Let's start getting a little more sophisticated. Let's not stick to the layman's English. Let's keep progressing in life. So, they weren't editing the magazine article, right? This is how you do your past continuous. As we move further, interrogative, were they editing the magazine article? Now you have were and you have editing in the question form. If I move to the interrogative negative sentences, were they not editing the magazine article? Right? So if you see, you have a question along with the negation. Interrogative, negative. So were they not editing? Yes, they were, or no, they weren't. It all depends on what your answer goes, right? So this is how we do our past continuous, right? I am literally brushing through something which people have done since, you have been doing since years, right? Now, coming to the past perfect, just a minute. Present perfect, what were the keywords? I'll recap. Has, have plus verb 3. You remember? I have visited Dubai, if you remember that sentence. So, have visited. Has or have plus verb 3. When I talk of past perfect, what is the past of has and have? Had. That's it. So, here same thing, past perfect, it will be had plus verb 3. I had eaten. Now, let's just read this and understand it better with an example. Used to describe an action completed before a certain moment in the past, usually a long time ago. If two actions happened in the past, past perfect is used to show the action that took place earlier. The patient had died before the doctor came. Confused? Seriously? Let me clear it for you. Okay, I'll give you a very simple sentence and you tell me about it, right? When I reached the station, I repeat, when I reached the station, the train had already left. Now, there were two actions that took place. I reached the station and the train left. Now, which action took place first? The train had already gone, right? When I reached, the train had already left. So, that action took place first. So, obviously, that will take the perfect tense. So, I repeat my sentence. Think of it. When I reached the station, reached past tense, the train had already left. Had left, past perfect. This is what it is trying to tell you. If two actions happened in the past, Past perfect is used to show the action that took place earlier. Now, even this told you the same thing. The patient had died before the doctor came. Now, let me bring this to your notice. Here we are using the past perfect, and here in the second verb you will use the past tense. So, they both are from the same family, right? Assertive, you had edited the the magazine article. You had not edited the magazine article. So remember, we are glued to our formations, had and verb 3, had not and verb 3. This is your past perfect, the two forms of it. Moving further, the interrogative sentences: had you edited the magazine article? Had you not edited the magazine article? So you are seeing here we have had with verb 3 and had you not, interrogative, negative. I'm sure it's clear by now, your past perfect. Moving further to past perfect continuous. Well, past perfect continuous, again something similar to present perfect continuous. What was our formation for present perfect continuous? You remember that example I gave you? I have been waiting for you since 6 o'clock. I have been waiting for you for an hour, right? Now here the two keywords which I mentioned to you were since and for. You come to know that you have to use present perfect continuous or past perfect continuous. Tell me one thing, why am I explaining all this to you in depth right now at this point of time? Because in your exams, when you have do as directed, or you have fill in the blanks with the appropriate form of the verb. Now, appropriate form of the verb means what? It can be any of those 12 verbs. And how will you know when to use it? When you have the keywords. You need to remember your keywords, right? And also you need to remember when each verb is used, right? So again, with practice, it comes very fast. Don't worry. Moving further to past perfect continuous tense. Now, it is used to denote an action that began before a certain point in the past and it continued up to some time in the past. Now, what is it trying to tell you? She had been editing the article since yesterday. Again, do you see? She had been editing and it is since yesterday, right? Your keywords. So, had been editing and yesterday, all in the past. Do you get the meaning of the sentence? She has been doing that since yesterday. She had been doing it. Moving to the assertive, she had been editing the article for a week. Had been editing for a week. And a week is the period, how long it happened. If I talk of the negative sentence, she had not been editing the article. Now, that is how we use it when we want to, speak of something which she had not been doing, right? She had not. Now, when you get your result, okay, let me take your example. When you have your answer sheet in the exam, when you go for your PTM, you have the parent-teacher meeting, and your result has really not been good. All right, so your conversation between the teacher and the mother, right? And your mom is like, she had not been studying at home at all during the exams. And your teacher, she has not been concentrating in the class. So has not been concentrating means from then on till now, she's not concentrating. And your mother is like, she had not been preparing for the, reading the books or, reading the notes. So that is during the exam time. You had not been doing it. Very common thing where we all land up making blunders. Moving further, had she been editing the article? Had she not been editing the article? Here again you have your past perfect and you have your ing, right? So that brings you to the end of past tense. I hope by now. See, whatever was in the present, like I already told you, pay attention to the present. Your past will go extremely easy because it is all the same. In present, if it is MR, in past it is was were. In present, if it is has or have, in past it is had. That's the only difference. And of course, when it is used definitely matters. That happens in the past, right? And present is happening in the current situation. Now, talking of tomorrow, talking of an action which is yet to occur. Simple future tense or future indefinite tense. So this tense tells us about an action which has not occurred yet and will occur after saying or in future. This action is yet to happen. It is about to happen, it is yet to happen, not yet happened. So here what do you have to remember the keywords? Will, shall plus the first form of the verb. So I will go for a movie tonight. Will go. You're using the future, the key of the future tense, that's will or shall. Now, quite often students are confused. When should we use will and when should we use shall? So, in future tense, helping verb shall is used with I and we. Helping verb will is used with all others. When you are to make a commitment or warn someone or emphasize something, use of will or shall is reversed. Will is used with I and we, and shall is used with others. What do they mean? You say, I will become the topper. I will score the highest. You are making a commitment. That is the time you use will even for I. So here generally shall is used for I and we, but when you are making a commitment and when you want to really emphasize something, then he will do it. You want to really emphasize. So in that case, we reverse the roles. So moving further, in general speaking, there is hardly any difference between will and shall, and normally will is used with all. Yes, it doesn't make much of a difference. You can use will with all of them, even with I and we. Likewise, it goes for shall. Now, let us use this rule in various forms of sentences. Okay, she will write a letter. So here you have the keyword will, and here write is there. You see, will, write. Will, future tense, write in the first form of the verb. She will not write a letter. So when you want to negate a sentence, it is will not write. Very common, we have been doing this. Just a quick recap for you people. Will she write a letter? You're asking a question. Will she not write a letter? Again, you're making an interrogative negative question in the future form. Now, just like in order we have simple future, future continuous, future perfect continuous. So here we move on to our future continuous. It is used to express an ongoing or continued action in future. Like I made you, we spoke about past continuous, an action in the past which was continuing, future continuous, an action in the future which will be continuing, right? Let's look at this. He will be distributing sweets in temple tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Now, this action will be happening tomorrow at a particular time, right? I give you another example. When you shall come to my house tomorrow, I shall be watching a movie, right? At that particular time, when you shall come to my house, I will be doing a certain action. So, in the example, the action will start in the future, that's tomorrow, it's already mentioned, and action is thought to be continued till some time in the future. Again, time specified. We use the future continuous to talk about something that will be in progress at or around a time in the future. Like I already said, at that particular point of time, certain action will be happening. So again, will shall plus be plus verb plus ing. Very important for you to remember this. Will shall future. Be you have to use because you have to frame it accordingly. Verb plus ing. Will be watching. Will be doing. Right? So this is how will be we will be forming the sentence. Now, talking of it, let us use it again in the different sentences. She will be writing a letter. She will not be writing a letter. You can add this to a sentence where you are saying tomorrow at this point of time she will be writing a letter. So at this point of time she will be performing a certain action. Moving further to the interrogative sentence, will she be writing a letter? Will she not be writing a letter? We've already been doing these 4 types where you are talking of interrogative and you are talking of interrogative negative. Again, an action which will happen in the future. Moving further to the future perfect tense. We spoke of the present perfect where it was has and have. I'm repeating the keywords. Has, have plus verb 3. We spoke of the past perfect, had plus verb 3. Now we move to the future perfect. It is used to express an action which will happen or occur in the future and it will be completed by a certain time in the future. So we use the future perfect. Okay, let me finish this. We use the future perfect to say that something will be finished by a particular time in the future. For example, they will have shifted the house by Sunday morning. Or when you shall come to my house tomorrow, I will have done my work. So when you come tomorrow, it's in future. When you come by that time, I will have done my work. So this is what it's going to tell you. So it is will, shall, have. Again, please remember, it's verb 3. Honestly, you really don't need to remember this. You don't need to really memorize. If you know how to frame your sentence, this is just for the basic purpose to make sure that you know it, right? Now, again, we have the 4 forms. She will have written a letter. Please remember this. It is future perfect tense. So, future is will, have perfect, written we use for verb 3. Right? So it's a very clear thing. Honestly, if you remember the words very properly, the technical terms for future, it is will or shall. For perfect, it is has, have, had, and again have in the future. And verb 3 we know it's write, wrote, written. Write is the present form, wrote is the past, and written is the verb 3, which we use in the perfect tense. In all the perfect tenses, your present future, your past future, and your present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. In all the 3 perfect tenses, we use the verb 3. Moving further to the negative sentences. Now, she will not have written a letter. She will not have done it. So tomorrow when you come to my house, she will not have done that thing. That's what it's trying to tell you. Let's go further. Will she have written a letter? Will she have done it by tomorrow? Or will she not have written a letter by tomorrow? Do you think by this time she will have done it or she will not have done it? That talks about your negative. Now, the very last tense. Yes, thank God, right? I can hear that. So, future perfect continuous tense. Now, it is used to talk about actions that will commence. Commence means begin. That will begin at a fixed time in the future and will continue for some time in the future. If there is no time reference, then it is not a future perfect continuous tense. So basically, you cannot have a future perfect continuous tense without time reference. Let's look further. Without continued time reference, such sentences are future continuous. Let's watch it. Continued time reference only differentiates between future continuous tense and future perfect continuous tense. The future perfect progressive emphasizes the duration of an activity that will be in progress before another time or event in the future. Well, I guess you're getting a little confused, but let's look at the examples to sort this out. So, this time tomorrow. Now, let's look at the future perfect continuous. This time tomorrow, at this point of time tomorrow, I will be enjoying the cricket match in the stadium. So it is used to talk about planned actions expected to happen, right? At this point of time tomorrow, something will have been happening. Example, they will be staying for a week. Now here the future perfect progress emphasize the duration of an activity that will be in progress before another time or event in the future. So here you see we spoke of the future continuous. Now let's move to the future perfect continuous formation. Here it is will or shall plus have been. Please remember this. You have to make sure that obviously it will be will or shall for the future. It will be have been for the future perfect continuous, and it will be ing to complete the formation. So I will have been doing a particular action. We will see the examples further, but let's first concentrate on the formation. See, will or shall, future, have been, perfect, and ing, continuous. Where is the problem? Future perfect continuous, right? Pretty simple, isn't it? Once you get the hang of it. Let's look at the different formations. She will have been writing a letter. She will not have been writing a letter. Can you think of the interrogative? Will she have been writing a letter? Will she not have been writing a letter? I'm sure by now you have got it. Yes? So yes, will she have been writing a letter? Will she not have been writing a letter? These are the four forms of your future perfect continuous. Actually, this tense is not very commonly used. It is pretty rarely used. So don't worry about it. You should know it. Now, enough I spoke. Enough of theory. Now let's get into action. Now it's time for you to solve a few exercises based on tenses. Like I already mentioned to you, previously in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, you used to get sentences where you had to, it would be specified, use this tense and use this particular tense in the brackets you would be given, right? Now it's going to be different. Tenses topic is the same, but the intensity is a little high. So how is it going to come? Just let's watch. So the following passage has not been edited. Editing and omission. This is what is going to come in this form. There is an error in each line. Write the incorrect word and the correction as given in the example against the correct question number in your answer sheet. So here we have the passage, right? Here we have the passage and you are going to solve with me. But before I go, do you want to do it? You can pause the video, read it, try it, solve it, and then again resume the video to get the answers, right? But whenever you have editing and omission, please follow this one technique. Always read the entire paragraph as it is. You will get your answers really very soon. So let's do it. More of the fun and excitement in our life comes from the use for our senses. Senses open up a world rich and full of sights, sounds, smells. There are mistakes, so we are supposed to edit, right? Tastes and things to touch. The sharp your senses and the more you use it, more enjoyable each of these worlds becomes for you. For instance, a painter can see shades and shapes which little gifted people could not see. Many mistakes, right? So they've already told us that there is a mistake. There is a mistake to be edited in every line. So this is how you generally get it. What you're supposed to do is, whichever is the wrong word, first you write the wrong word, the incorrect word, and then write the correct word. What is the answer? What should come instead of it? So, more of the fun and excitement. Does it sound music to the ears? More of the fun and excitement? I don't think so. I guess it is much of the fun. You cannot say more of the fun. It is much of the fun. So what you're going to do here is, you are going to write more, which is the incorrect word, and you're going to correct it with much. right? So much of the fun and excitement in our life comes from the use for our senses or of our senses. What sounds better? Of, obviously. So your incorrect word is for, and you are going to replace it with of, right? So these are our incorrect words. You have to correct them. Now, senses open up a world which and full of sights, sounds, smells. So what is the mistake you get in this sentence? Senses open up a world which and full of sights. And full of sights, which and makes sense? No, it doesn't. It is which is full of sights, sounds, smells, tastes and things to touch. The sharp your senses, something wrong? The sharper your senses, right? The sharper your senses and the more you use it, senses is plural, how can I use it? Right? So the more you use, any guesses? Them. Yes. The more you use them, more enjoyable each of these world. These again, plural, world, singular. So each of these worlds becomes for you. So here this is the incorrect. Your correct will be worlds. For instant. Instant. What is instant? You are saying for example, right? So, for instance, right? This is your incorrect word. For instance, a painter can see shades and shapes which little gifted people. Little gifted people? No, it is less gifted people. Which less gifted people could not see. Now, this is something which is giving you information. So, can I use past tense? Is it an episode? Is it a scene? Is it a story? No, it is information. So, that always comes in our present tense. So, obviously, we will use can. We will not use could. So, you see, this is how you have to edit every sentence. So, this is called editing and omission, and quite often your tenses are asked. It's basically not just tenses, it's a mix of everything. So, you have to make sure this carries a good 5-6 marks each. So, you have to be careful about this and pay good attention to do this, right? Now, moving further. Okay, here you have the key in case you want to try it and then check your answers. You can do that. Now, still one more. Again, quite often, CBSE gives you a lot of MCQs. You think MCQs are, just 1, 2, 3, go, 1, 2, 3. That's how generally students do it. They just give it a wild guess. But don't do that. I mean, it is something you have the answer. You just have to rule it out. Which one should be there in the right place. So, you have to complete the following sentences using an appropriate tense form. That is the reason I went so much in depth to tell you all, right? So, now here you have them. Now, I dash for his reply since last week. What is the word since reminding you of? Yes, since last week. Something about past? Something about perfect continuous? Yes, it is past perfect continuous. So, which is the option? Can you think of it? Quickly, I'll give you a second. You're done? Okay, here I go. So, you can also do one more thing. You have these 4 options. You should apply each option to the blank and see which suits well. So, let's begin with it. I had been waiting for his reply since last week. I have been waiting for his reply since last week. I am waiting for his reply since last week. I was for his reply? Of course not. So yes, here you have your last week. It's in the past. So obviously we are going to use had been waiting. Right? Let's try some more. The next example, this time tomorrow. Tomorrow, what does it tell you? It reminds you of the future. So this time tomorrow, I dash with my grandchildren. I will play, I will be playing, or I am playing. Now tomorrow at a certain time, right? You will be doing something. So obviously you will be playing. So I will be playing with my grandchildren. Moving further, I dash the newspaper every morning. I want to bring this to your notice. Something which happens on a daily basis. We began with this tense, right? The simple present tense. Something which happens on a daily basis. So, if you are talking of something on the daily basis, so I read the newspaper every morning. I will read the newspaper every morning. I am reading the newspaper every morning, or I have read the newspaper every morning. What sounds better? What sounds music to your ears? Of course, I read the newspaper every morning. It is something which happens on a daily basis. So obviously, you're not going to use any other apart from that. The last sentence. When I visited her, she dash bedridden for 6 months. Okay, now which is the verb which already exists here? Visited. Which tense is it? Past tense. So basically we are going to get something of the past tense family. So when I visited her, she dash bedridden for 6 months. So she had been bedridden, she was bedridden, she has been bedridden, or she were bedridden. Now obviously it's past, you will have a past perfect, and past perfect means had. Clear? This is how we are going to use our tenses. You have to remember this extremely well. Again, I am telling you, it is definitely not a burden. It is not very complicated at all. Please just try a few exercises. You have them. You have a lot of exercises for practice. Please do them, and by the end of it, take some trouble. You will have to take some trouble, and you will definitely master the topic, right? So that was really nice. So something nice for you. Learn from the past, live in the present moment, and plan your future. And just remember, the only thing you leave behind is not present or future, it's history. Yes, that is what we leave behind. So, all of you, all the very best for your tenses. Make sure you master them. Yes, and as always, keep watching and keep learning.